Ourimperee Waterhole in Currawinya is another grand campsite along the Paroo River. The Ourimperee Waterhole campgrounds have a basic bush shower. Nothing too flash, but it's important to take the chance when it's available to freshen up. Still very simple shed, but it should be nice, fresh, clean bore water. Let's get into it. Absolutely beautiful. Nice shower and shave. Ready to hit the park for another few more days. I'll head by the ranger base now and book probably another 3 nights. That'll give me enough chance to check out the 2 lakes. And that will be Currawinya complete. The ranger base has a simple information office you can go to get a bit of information, park maps, and there's also cell phone coverage inside, so if you do need to make a phone call or book a camping permit online, you can do so here. Let's take a look now where we have travelled together over the last 11 days and where we'll be heading over the next 2. So I've got the parks map here. We came in from Yulo, drove in to the Ourimperee Waterhole, then down through the Currawinya Homestead and out to Currawinya Waterhole, then up out to the pump hole. Those are the 3 sites I did in the first 6 days, and then took Beefwood Road out across and visited Beefwood Hut and continued out to the Buggered Woolshed. Then from the Buggered Woolshed up to Myninya camping area and day use area, did the Welwilkie Creek circuit, then followed on down through Buggered Lookout, and then down to the Granites, and finally out here to our Ourimperee Waterhole, which is where I am now. Checked out the Currawinya Woolshed and the ranger base. Now in the next 2 days I've got left, I'm heading up out to Lake Numalla and Lake Wyara. And that will complete the whole park. So it's basically this area remaining. I'll do 1 day in each for the fresh and the salt and see what kind of bird life's around. And finally, I'll head out to Hungerford and then all the way back out to Thargomindah. And that completes my trip into Currawinya. A wonderful 13 days of exploring and adventure. Beautiful park. But I'm keen to see what kind of bird life's at the 2 lakes.
Good morning. I got up at 5 AM. I'm heading out to Lake Numalla this morning. It's sunrise at 7:15, so hopefully I'll get there just in time. I'll take it pretty slow as it's night time and there might be some wildlife around. But hopefully when I get there I'll be able to set up in position and do some filming for some wildlife, see the birds. I'm not sure how far out the water is from the shore. It might mean a bit of a walk across open country, but I'll see when I get there what it's like. So let's get moving and hopefully we'll have something to show for it. drive only out here. Thus far the tracks are pretty fine, it's just really corrugated. It's probably the most corrugated track in the park I've found thus far. But I'm travelling pretty slow, around 30 k's an hour, so I have plenty of time to slow down for wildlife. If there are still some kangaroos that jump out in front of me, maybe even some goats or Creole cattle. So nothing too fast, plenty of time. Should arrive just before dawn. I'll keep on shaking my way out there. Almost arrived. The sky's just starting to warm up now for beautiful colours of orange and yellow. Just a bit further. I've arrived. It's 6:55, so it took about nearly 1.5 hours to get here. But I see the water from here, so that's great. Don't have to go too far. I'll get kitted out, grab my camera gear and head on in. Well, that was a beautiful morning. The water was like glass first thing, just as the sun began to rise. Just incredible. Unfortunately, I did get there a bit late. I really wanted to get there in pure darkness so I could set up a bit of a hide. So some of the birds, the ducks, saw me coming and flew off, but gradually they returned, but not as close. But I might try again tomorrow. I'll see how I go. But it's really nice to try again and get them a bit closer. Let's have a look now at what else is here while it's daylight, and then I'll head off to the saltwater lake. Lake Numalla and Wyara are wetlands of international significance, protected under the Ramsar Convention. So there are some places around here you can't go, and the map tells you where, because they're restricted for water birds just to rest and nest, and they don't want people interacting and disturbing the birds. But there is an aquatic area, so you can bring your kayak or canoe and go swimming and just enjoy the place. From the car park, it's only a couple 100 metres walk to the shoreline. The lakes fill with water collected from the surrounding catchment, but Lake Numalla is more likely to receive floodwaters from the Peru River. These water striders skate on the surface, searching for prey. It's currently July, and the temperatures have ranged from 6 to 22 degrees Celsius, allowing for very comfortable travel. The car park has a picnic table and shelter.
Numerous shallow lakes and clay pans surround Lake Numalla and Wyara. These may fill after rains. I continue on to Lake Wyara.
Lake Wyara is a salt lake. When it's full, it covers 3,800 hectares of land. But currently, it's fairly dry, with the shoreline way off into the distance. But we'll go take a look anyway, because it's quite a sight to see.
It's about a kilometre's walk from the car park to the shoreline. The lake, currently dry, is vast. There is almost no sound of any bird life, just a harsh wind blowing across the landscape.
On top of the lake is a fairly crusty, dry sand consistency, but if you push down about an inch into it, you'll hit the mud layer and it starts getting really damp. Kind of like Lake Air. So you wouldn't want to go walking out too far just in case you do hit a real boggy patch and get stuck in the mud. Although it's completely dry, it's still an incredible sight to see. I can only imagine how magnificent it must be when it's completely full and filled with bird life. Well, the sun's about to set, so I better get back home and set up camp for the night. Before departing the lake, I thought I'd get my dinner on, so that way by the time I get back to camp, it should be close to finished. It'll probably take at least an hour before we drive back. So I'm using the very last of my fresh rations, my fresh veggies. I've catered pretty well throughout this trip. I think this is day 12 or 13 now. I'm starting to lose track. I think I've done a pretty good job. Everything after this now is pasta and noodles and other packaged foods. It's nice to be able to have fresh food in the bush. Beautiful, just in the nick of time. Just about to hit the road. Close this up. In the oven. So my plans to head back out to the lake this morning to do some more filming didn't work out. I was starting to head out on the tracks and noticed that my battery voltage was fluctuating and then the alternator wasn't putting out the correct voltage all the time. And just as I pulled into camp the night earlier, the alternator drive belt was making some funny squealing noises. So I pulled up the side of the road, had a feel underneath. I thought I knew what it would be, and I was right. It was the rear mounting bolt on the alternator. I replaced that last year after it fell out, and only just had it out a couple months ago when I was checking it, and it's completely sheared off. So it hasn't just rattled out, but it's completely sheared through. So half the bolt is stuck in the mount. So there's only 2 bolts holding the alternator on, which is fine. I can drive the car like that, but I can't take it any further west into the bush. I have to head back, if I can't fix it now, to civilization. Which was really disappointing that actually happened. I don't know why, maybe it's just too much strain on it. The bolt wasn't high tensile, but I don't think any of these bolts are. It may have had something to do with not only the corrugations being pretty rough and driving fairly slow, so I was going through every one of them, but also having the DC-DC charger on. I've been putting that on more recently to use the alternator to charge the third battery, and that may put extra strain on the actual alternator itself to keep the charge and amperage out high enough, which may cause some sort of fluctuating or wobble sort of effect as it comes on. Either way, I'm going to try and take it off again, check to see if I can fix it. If I can't, I'll put it back together and drive out, probably back to Cunnamulla or Charleville, and get a mechanic to drill out the remaining snapped off bolt and then get it replaced with a nice high tensile bolt. So let's get to work and see if we can get this fixed. Progress has been made. I've taken the mount off which holds the alternator on, and I can clearly see the bolt still in there that snapped off. Looking upon the other bolts, I see that they actually are high tensile, so that's where I went wrong. It's my own stupidity. I didn't put a high tensile bolt in for the back bolt, and that's why it's sheared. It couldn't take the stress. Just put a normal standard mild bolt in. So I'll try and drill this out. I've got some easy outs. I'll see if they'll come out. I may have used a thread locker on this, so hopefully it won't be too difficult to get out. But I can give it a go, see what happens. So I've got the mount clamped here. Got a drill. I'm going to try and drill a nice small hole right in the center of the bolt, and then gradually get bigger and bigger until I got something the right size for an easy out to fit in, and see if we can get this out. Otherwise I might just have to drill it completely out and jerry rig some sort of bolt of some sort. Let's see how we go. Okay, only 10 minutes or so, and I got it out. It came out easily, thankfully. Just an easy out. Didn't use any thread lock on it, thankfully. So I'll get this thread cleaned up a little bit, and then put this mount back on, find a proper size bolt, bolt the alternator back on, tighten everything up, and then we'll see what happens from there. Just going through my spare bolts, and I found 2 bolts the correct size spare. Both of them high tensile, so I'll replace it with one of these. They're both too long, so I'll get my hacksaw out and cut them down to correct size, and we'll put this in. Repair complete in 3.5 hours, which is really great that I didn't have to backtrack up to Cunnamulla or beyond to get it repaired. I was very lucky that that snapped off bolt did come out so easily. But everything's back together, just about to start it up and give it all a check, make sure the electrical system's running okay, check the belt tightness, and might go for a drive and see how everything goes and recheck all the tightness of the bolts. But that's great, I'm prepared, I've got the gear I need to do repairs like this. It's a shame I stuffed up and didn't double check the bolt I used last time to do a bush repair. I should have replaced it with a high tensile bolt. And now I know that everything I put on the engine should be high tensile and not just standard steel. But the one that's in there now is high tensile, so I think I'm set for the next 25 years. 14.4 volts output. Repairs are a success.
I returned to Lake Numalla in the early hours of darkness and set up a hide, then lay in wait until the horizon began to glow. I was not to be disappointed by the show Mother Nature had arranged. And that concludes my 13 days exploring Currawinya National Park. It's been an awesome adventure. The winds have just started kicking up today, but otherwise the temperatures and weather have been perfect throughout July. So I've seen so much pastoral history as well as beautiful wildlife. It's a great park to come. You don't need to spend this long here. You can probably do the park in only 4 or 5 days if you need to. But I like to travel slowly and take it all in. So follow along on my next adventure into New South Wales' most remotest park, which is Sturt National Park. So until then, get in your truck, roam the Outback, and I'll see you on the next adventure. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to help support the creation of more videos and see behind the scenes and bonus content, join me on Patreon. Click on the Patreon button on the site now. Thanks for watching.